Alright guys, so quick video on a little kind of custom kit bash that I threw together that I think is pretty cool. And of course we have Steve Rogers' Nomad here. Now, this is obviously tweaked. This is not a one-to-one comparison with any costume he wore in the comics, because Nomad actually had a few different variations of his Nomad costume. And if you don't know who Nomad is, or, you know, when Steve Rogers, a la Captain America, was Nomad, it was for a brief period of time, I want to say back in the early 80s, may have been late 70s to early 80s, where he kind of put down the shield and decided to not become Captain America anymore and go and fight bad guys under the name Nomad. And, you know, he kind of had like a very late 70s, early 80s design costume, so I threw something together a little more modern that still evokes that feeling. Now, in the comics, sometimes his main bodysuit was depicted as black, sometimes it was dark blue, sometimes he would have blue gloves and boots and a belt, sometimes they would be red gloves and boots and a belt. And then usually his cape would match. If he was wearing red, it was a red cape. If he was wearing blue, it was a blue cape. He even had one that was two-tone black and yellow and one that was two-tone blue and yellow. So a lot of variation there, so I went with something that was going to keep this custom kit bash simple and just make it look nice and clean and look like what I would want to see a good modern representation of Nomad to be. So this is what we've got here. So the figure that we're working with here is standard Captain America figure, but I got this one from the new US agent that just came out because I wanted a black figure, didn't want to have to paint the whole thing. So got one of the new US agents, and I think that was a good base to start with. First thing I did, obviously, remove all the striping and everything in the star from the front and the back, get rid of that, just go down to a clean black bodysuit figure, but keep the red gloves, keep the red belt, keep the red boots, and then go from there. And I think it looks pretty good. Now, as far as the head sculpt goes, this is where I probably put the most work into it. This was actually a Captain Marvel head from that last release that we got here. I can't remember how many years ago it's been now. And obviously painted the mask black instead of the blue that it was. And then as far as the hair goes, I did do a little re-sculpting there, kind of shaved some areas down, things like that. That Captain Marvel head, the hair was a little crazy on it. Not too bad, but just a little bit. So, of course, I shaved it down a little bit, made it look a little more Steve Rogers-esque, a little more clean cut, that kind of thing. And then, of course, went ahead and painted it up just to give it some texture and some shading and stuff like that, because the hair on this was just kind of a flat yellow color. And in my opinion, didn't look very good. Just really needed to be kind of popped up a little bit there. Then as far as the cape goes, this is the cape from the Hood, that character that nobody asked for and I don't really think anybody wanted, but he had basically the perfect cape, well, hood, for this Nomad figure, in the sense that it was red and matched the boots and gloves and belt, and it had the two gold kind of pauldrons there on the front that Nomad always had. That was the point at which the cape was attached to his costume. And so I just basically cut off the hood. I mean, that's all I did. I cut off the hood, smoothed it down in that area, and we've got a Captain America slash Steve Rogers slash Nomad figure with cape and all. And I think it works. I think it works. I mean, it's not perfect, you know, and certainly there are customizers out there like Collector Express who could do an amazing job with something like this, far better than I could. But I think this works for what it is. It's going to look good on the shelf, and it's a good kind of modern variation, at least as far as what I would like to see for a Nomad figure. Of course, one of the big, you know, points about that old costume was he had the huge open V chest there on the front, which was very late 70s, early 80s. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to keep it a little more modern, a little more clean looking, that kind of stuff. So I left that out of the costume. Some people will balk and say I should have left it in, but I'm sorry, it looked too goofy. I'm sorry, I wasn't going to do that. And I like the way this came out. So this is going to sit on my shelf as a good representation of Steve Rogers as Nomad. I'm very happy with it, but I want to know what you guys think, and also, hopefully, maybe put some ideas out there if you're looking to slap one of these together too. It was very, very simple to do, and I highly recommend it, especially if you're a big Steve Rogers fan like I am. So, that's it, guys. Thanks for watching as always, and always remember to enjoy your collection.